Hi, I'm Mark, and this is Capitalism Autopsy. Theranos was once valued at $9 billion. Its founder claimed a small machine could run hundreds of medical tests from a single drop of blood. Investors believed it. Walgreens partnered with it. The media called its founder the next Steve Jobs. But inside the company, employees knew something very different. The machines often didn't work. So how did a company with unreliable technology convince investors, partners, and regulators that it had reinvented blood testing? Today, we're examining Theranos, a startup that promised to transform healthcare and ended up becoming one of Silicon Valley's most famous fraud cases. To understand how it happened, we have to go back to 2003. Elizabeth Holmes was 19 years old when she dropped out of Stanford University. She had an ambitious idea. Traditional blood testing usually requires multiple vials of blood taken from a patient's arm. Those samples are then sent to specialized laboratories filled with large diagnostic machines. Holmes believed testing could be done in a much simpler way. Her vision was a small device capable of running hundreds of blood tests using only a tiny drop from a finger prick. If it worked, tests could become faster, cheaper, and easier for patients. She named the company Theranos. The name combined the words therapy and diagnosis. The idea attracted attention quickly. Over time, Theranos raised hundreds of millions of dollars from wealthy investors. Many of them came from politics, government, and traditional business rather than biotechnology. The company's board included former secretaries of state, military leaders, and other high-profile figures. Their presence helped build trust around the company. At the same time, Elizabeth Holmes built a carefully crafted public image. She wore black turtlenecks. She spoke frequently about changing healthcare. Soon, the media began comparing her to Steve Jobs. By 2014, the company's reputation had grown dramatically. Theranos reached a valuation of about $9 billion. Holmes herself owned a large share of the company, giving her a paper fortune of roughly $4.5 billion. Then came a major partnership. Theranos signed an agreement with Walgreens, one of the largest pharmacy chains in the United States. The plan was to place Theranos testing centers inside Walgreens stores. Customers could walk in, provide a small blood sample, and receive diagnostic results quickly. To the public, it looked like a breakthrough, but inside Theranos laboratories, engineers were facing serious problems. The company's core device was called the Edison machine. It was supposed to perform a wide range of blood tests using extremely small samples. In practice, the system struggled to deliver reliable results. Engineers repeatedly encountered technical failures. Some tests produced inconsistent readings, others could not be completed at all. For medical diagnostics, reliability is essential. Inaccurate results can lead to incorrect treatment decisions. Instead of slowing expansion, the company increased its secrecy. Employees were divided into separate teams that rarely shared information. Many workers only understood a small piece of the system. Former staff members later described a culture where raising concerns about the technology was discouraged. Meanwhile, when the Edison machines failed to run certain tests, Theranos sometimes relied on conventional laboratory analyzers made by other companies. These systems required larger blood samples and traditional processing methods. The substitution allowed testing to continue, but it contradicted the company's public claims about its technology. The gap between the company's story and its internal reality continued to grow. Then, in 2015, a reporter began asking questions. John Carreyrou from the Wall Street Journal started investigating Theranos. He spoke with former employees who described serious issues inside the company. According to several sources, the Edison machines could not consistently perform the tests Theranos advertised. Many diagnostic results were actually produced using standard laboratory equipment. If true, that meant the company's core innovation was largely unproven. Theranos denied the allegations. Lawyers issued warnings to journalists and former employees. Despite the pressure, more people came forward with information. Documents and internal details supported the claims that the technology was not functioning as promised. Regulators soon began examining the company's laboratories. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services conducted inspections of Theranos testing facilities. Their findings were severe. Inspectors reported major deficiencies in laboratory practices and test accuracy. Some problems were described as posing immediate risks to patient safety. Quick question for you. If you were an investor, what would have convinced you the technology was real? Working machines, independent testing, or the reputation of the people involved? Let me know in the comments. Regulators responded with strong penalties. Theranos was banned from operating blood testing laboratories for 2 years. The impact spread quickly. Walgreens shut down Theranos testing centers. Confidence from investors collapsed. Without trust in the technology, the company's $9 billion valuation disappeared. Operations were gradually dismantled. In 2018, Theranos officially shut down, but the legal consequences continued. Federal prosecutors charged Elizabeth Holmes and former Theranos executive Ramesh Sunny Balwani with fraud. Investigators argued that investors had been misled about the company's technology and performance. The case drew national attention. In 2022, Holmes was convicted on multiple counts of fraud related to misleading investors. She was later sentenced to more than 11 years in prison. The rise and fall of Theranos became one of the most dramatic startup scandals in modern Silicon Valley. The idea behind the company, smaller and faster blood testing, is still being researched today, but Theranos made a critical mistake. The company presented its technology as fully functional long before the science supported those claims. Secrecy inside the company limited internal scrutiny. Many investors lacked the technical expertise to evaluate the medical technology. Media coverage amplified the story of a visionary founder transforming healthcare. Together, those forces allowed a powerful narrative to grow around technology that had never been proven. In the end, Theranos never built the technology it promised. But investor enthusiasm, media hype, and secrecy allowed the story to grow long before the science was proven. Corporate autopsy verdict: Theranos didn't collapse because the idea was impossible. It collapsed because the company claimed the breakthrough already existed. A $9 billion company built on technology that never worked. If you want more corporate autopsies like this one, watch the next video on the channel. And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.